I'm trying to read romance for the escapism. What is the point of reading a romance book if the guy acts just like a guy in real life? In this video, I'm gonna go over 3 books that I read while traveling in 3 different countries. It was a very busy month, hence why I only read 3 books, but I hope you still enjoy seeing what I ate and where I went and what I read. There's gonna be a lot of food, so I'm sure you'll be very hungry while watching. Something that I think might pique your appetite even more is the sponsor of today's video, Love and Pies. This is a mobile game that's free to play on your phone and tablet. The whole premise is that you follow Amelia Green. She's a single mom who moves to the countryside to live in her old family cafe after her divorce. As she's restoring the cafe, she starts to uncover dark family secrets and long forgotten romantic feelings and ancient grudges. So it's definitely a juicy story. And one of the books I read this month was a cozy mystery that had this nice balance of humor and drama. And I feel like this game has a very similar vibe to it. It's a great way to switch off and just take a break and relax. You get to meet a big, diverse cast of characters and explore this new story content. But I think one of my favorite parts of the game is just being able to customize and decorate the world. It just adds like a nice little personalized touch. And I'm basically a girl boss now because Amelia and we are building a thriving business here, okay? So if you're interested, the game is free to download. I will have the link in my description for you to check it out. Now let's go ahead and see a day in my life. Updating you from Chiang Mai, Thailand. Some context for this background behind me. I'm staying at the Lotus Paying Hotel that is in the heart of the city. This is a very old-fashioned hotel, but I think that's like part of the charm in it. The first book that I'm starting this vlog with is Bunny. I think it's classified as a horror, but there's definitely this satirical Mean Girls kind of vibe to it. It's about a scholarship student who's in this MFA program in New England, and there's this group of rich girls there that call each other Bunny. So they're always like, oh my god, Bunny, I love your outfit. Oh my gosh, Bunny, I wish I could look as good as you. You're the cutest, Bunny. I'm all for girls supporting girls and girl friendships, but the main character is not. She thinks they are the most annoying, vapid bitches in the world. She has a best friend who's kind of like this emo, goth, punk girl. And then just like Mean Girls, the main character ends up getting invited into the clique. So she gets this invitation that's in this cute little stationery that invites her to join the Smut Salon, which is a regular meeting that the bunnies have where they just read smut out loud, because this is like a fiction writing program and these are all writers. You wouldn't believe that with all this time of joining cults that they would have time to write their assignments, but apparently they do. And then you see her become more acclimated to this group and starts to join them, and as a result she's kind of like ditching her best friend. I'm still pretty early in the book, I would say like 30%. What is making me continue reading this is knowing that shit is gonna go down later. I believe that this is gonna be about a cult, so there might be some fucked up shit happening. I just want to see it all go down. I don't know what to expect yet. Maybe they skin some bunnies. I mean, they have to do something with bunnies, right? That's like the whole title of the book and what they call each other. The characters read as very young. I had to consciously remind myself that these are grad school students. They talk and act like they're in high school. Even the main character, who is looking down on these bunnies and thinking she's so much better than them, is giving I'm not like other girls energy because she's judging them for being girly and cliquey. I have to be like, wait, you bitches are studying for an MFA? I've never been to grad school, so maybe there really are girls like this, but I'm like, do adult women really talk like this? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to continuing reading it. I feel like there's a solid start so far. I will say now that I'm at the 30% mark, I'm starting to kind of lose interest, so some shit better go down quick, because the weird shit is gonna be what makes or breaks this book. So keep you updated while I eat my ass off in Chiang Mai. at the B2 Bangkok Hotel. Honestly, this is a pretty standard budget hotel. I didn't want to do anything fancy since I was only going to be here for a few days. I am finished with Bunny, my first book of this vlog. Last time I said that I wanted something to happen. Literally right after I said that and I continued the book, somebody's head exploded. Things definitely got trippy, but I feel like I was more into the potential than the execution. I can understand what people mean by this being like a weird book because the author did a good job in reflecting the weirdness through the writing. There was a part where the main girl was basically indoctrinated into the cult and the writing style shifted when she was a part of the cult. The entire book uses first person perspectives. Then when she becomes integrated into the cult, the perspective shifts. Then she says, we did this. This was our class to go to. And I thought that was interesting because it shows how the bunnies kind of move and speak as if they are one person. And it also shows how the main character is losing her personality and her individuality because she's becoming a part of them. Even when the other characters talk to each other inside their little clique, it says stuff like, Bunny says this, Bunny replies with this. It's different people talking, but it's using the same pronouns or names, Bunny, the whole time. Like you don't know what the actual names of who is talking or not. I think it also did a good job of feeling like you were in a fever dream. Maybe it also helped that I got to this part when I was super burned out after doing 2 group trips back to back while traveling in Thailand. So I was hungry and my brain was not present, and then I read this book and I was like transcending reality with them. But I really did feel like the main girl was not mentally there, just like me. She's just like me for real. I highlighted some quotes because there are a few lines where I feel like it's so obviously satirical that you just have to laugh. The main character is being tortured by a little too much self-awareness because her whole thing is that she feels like she's better than other people, especially since she came from a poor background while the other girls in the school are of a wealthier upbringing. So she thinks that because she's poor, that makes her writing deep. And so when they're mocking her, they say, Samantha Heather Mackey wears stilts so she can look down on us. Oh ho ho, she loves every fucking second of that. Samantha Heather Mackey thinks we have everything under the sun, that we sleep on a bed of gold, and meanwhile she sleeps on a bed of dirt, that she has nothing, and she thinks this makes her deep. It doesn't make you deep, Samantha Heather Mackey. It just makes you rumpled and it makes you smell of old potatoes. I mean, they kind of popped off with that one. I do wish that being poor made me deep, but instead it just made me poor and with fewer opportunities. Samantha Heather Mackey thinks she understands everything, but she fails to understand the depths of the human heart. She fails to understand the depths of our heart. Our heart, our heart, our heart. We've read Jane Eyre too, you cunt, and we read The Waves, and when we read it, you know, we wept for minutes. I do like how the book makes fun of these girls that are in the clique because they are pretentious in their own way, but then the main character has her own pretentiousness because she thinks she's so much better than the others because she believes she's experienced more hardship. So there's definitely a lot of satirical elements to it. This excerpt here is apart from when she was indoctrinated inside the cult, so you get a sense of what the writing style is like here. There are so many cute things also. We can't help but coo and clap our hands at the so cute things of this world. At the ducks, oh my god, look at the ducks, so cute. At the sky, oh my god, look at the sky, so cute. At the tall buildings reflecting the sun setting, look how shiny they are. Homeless man, don't look, don't look, don't look. That causes an owie inside. No, do look, it's sad. Makes you think, makes you deep. Our mothers always said to look hard at the things of this world that are owies on the eyes because they will put more colors in your inner rainbow. I think what's interesting is that this whole cult and the horror aspect of it is decorated by this ornamentation of girliness. And it makes me think of how if they took a movie like Mean Girls and turned it into a horror movie, it would be so camp. Like people would eat that shit up. I get the sense that this book is for hot girls. It is a satire of the type of cliques that hot girls are in, and so therefore hot girls would really love this shit. It wasn't for me, but I still appreciate that the author was being very experimental with the book and tried to make it as weird and different as possible. I'll be starting a new book next time I see you, and I will also be in Singapore, so see you then. updating you from Singapore. I landed about 2 days ago. I've been sleeping since then, but I gotta make a vlog update because my friend is gonna arrive here in about like 20 minutes. So to give you an update, we are staying at V Hotel Lavender, which is actually a really good location in Singapore. It's right next to the train station. It's next to a bunch of food places. I finished another book on my way to Singapore, and that is This Time Next Year. And I just wanted something very simple and easy to read while I go through the hassle of traveling. By the way, I went to the wrong airport in Thailand. I was scrambling to check out of my hotel and I just typed in airport in my rideshare app thinking there was only one airport in Thailand. There was not. I didn't think that through, so then I went to the wrong airport and I ended up having to get a new flight from that wrong airport. And so I needed a book that would accommodate for my lack of brain cells. And the whole premise is that the main girl and the main guy were actually born on the same day, on New Year's Eve, and actually within the same hospital, but they were born 1 minute apart. Their mothers were right next to each other when they were trying to give birth because there was this contest going on. If you give birth when it's New Year's, then you get some kind of cash prize or something like that. The mom who won the competition is the mom of the main guy, and she just happened to just be 1 minute closer to the goal. She also ended up stealing the name that was supposed to be given to the main girl. So the main girl was supposed to be named Quinn, and that's what her mom told his mom. Later, his mom decided to also name her child Quinn, partly as a tribute to the other mom that was with her because she was helping her out during her labor because it was really tough for her. And then the other part was just because she liked the name Quinn better. The mom of the main girl does not take that well because now she feels like she can't name her daughter the same name. Quinn was the name that was on the newspaper, so she didn't want that name to also be mixed up with her daughter's, who was also born on New Year's Eve. So she decides to name her daughter Minnie, which is a cute name, except her last name is also Cooper. So her name is Minnie Cooper. So she spent her whole life being made fun of for her name. And she has also grown up poor, and the cash money really could have helped her, but like they obviously didn't get the prize. So then when she finally meets Quinn, she finds out that he also was born on New Year's Eve and was born in that same hospital. She's like, you were the guy that stole my name. What also doesn't help is that he is very rich and seems to have a privileged life. She just has this big chip on her shoulder where she's like, this bitch stole my name, stole my money, stole everything. My life could have been totally different if it weren't for him. I think that's a pretty unique situation for a character and her love interest to be, like to have crossed paths in such a strange way when they were babies and then have met later on in life. I liked it in the beginning. I was charmed by the Britishness of it, which really goes to show how open-minded I've become with the British nowadays, even though they are still on thin ice. I was charmed by the premise. I also liked that the main character was someone who was down on her luck and was resentful of a rich man, because we love a relatable protagonist like that. But I think what fell off for me was when the guy was displaying commitment issues. He was a commitment phobe and I was really not into that. When I'm reading a romance, especially when I'm reading a straight romance, I need the guy to be pining and yearning and head over heels for the girl. I don't like it when the guy is avoidant around her or even ghosts her after they have this strong connection. I'm trying to read romance for the escapism. What is the point of reading a romance book if the guy acts just like a guy in real life? Obviously, he was dealing with his own issues that makes him afraid of commitment, but isn't that everyone who is commitment phobe? I don't give a shit. I need the yearning, I need the pining. He was not fulfilling my romantic fantasies at all. And in general, I don't really see the chemistry between the main characters. Like, yeah, they have a cool way of kind of crossing paths with each other when they were babies, but like that's about it. What was also a turnoff for me was how the main girl was pining so hard over him, which would normally be fine, but girl, he was ghosting you. For her to be head over heels for this guy that I feel like she didn't have that strong of an emotional connection with. First of all, she had a shitty boyfriend in the beginning. Like, he wasn't shitty in the sense that he was like abusive or anything, but he was just like a scrub. So maybe she saw the main guy as a better option, but that's just like the bare minimum for me. So she was literally pining over him. She would wake up and think about him. She would literally show up to the pool where he always goes to. They would take swimming classes together. I guess they agreed to just be friends at one point, but that was just him having it his way. He would be able to go ahead and meet up with other women on Tinder, but then he would also be able to take advantage of this friendship that he has with the main girl. So she would just show up every week just to see this guy and just to spend time with him, but he's not giving her the same reciprocation. It's too close to real life. So many of my girlies out there are experiencing the same thing, and I need you women to stand up. If he's not a simp for you, you gotta get the fuck out of here. So unfortunately, it was not my thing. I don't know if I would rate it 2 or 3 stars. And hopefully the next book that I read will go much better. I am past the halfway point of an audiobook called The Maid. It is a cozy mystery about the maid at this fancy hotel. This maid is a young woman who is really good at her job and likes things to be very orderly and clean. She would definitely be like the main character from Convenience Store Woman or Amelia Bedelia, because she has trouble reading social cues and she takes everything really literally. She lived with her grandmother, who would help her interpret the world easier by giving her the set of rules to live by. She spent a lot of her life trying to understand people's facial expressions, so I definitely feel like she's somewhere on the autism spectrum, but it hasn't really been explicitly stated anywhere in the book, but that's just my interpretation. When you start the book, her grandmother died a few months ago, so she's been struggling paying for rent. Now that is only just her portion of the money. The plot begins when she walks into this room to clean up the room belonging to this wealthy guy, but then she finds the guy's dead body, and it turns out that he's been murdered. She then becomes the lead suspect for the person who murdered him due to a few factors. One of the main ones is basically because the police are stupid and don't understand her demeanor and her quirks. They think because she doesn't act like a normal person, that makes her more suspicious. There's also the fact that she happens to be a little bit close with the dead guy's wife. The guy and his wife have been regular guests at the hotel. Over the course of their stays, she developed this friendship with the wife. The wife actually talks to her like another person instead of just treating her like she's invisible. So they formed this unusual friendship. There was something that the maid saw at the scene that could have implicated the wife, and when she was being questioned by the police, she didn't mention what she saw because she didn't want the wife to get in trouble because they're friends and she was willing to protect her. I know the book is not going to end up this way, but I feel like it'd be pretty wild if it turned out that the main character was the murderer. At some point I was thinking, what if she murdered the grandma all this time? I don't think this will happen because I'm pretty sure this story is supposed to be like a heartwarming story, but that would be quite a curveball. It would add some flavor to it if she had murdered her grandma, or if she had actually murdered the dude and she and the wife had a thing going on. I know it's not gonna be sapphic, but God, I wish. They're not gonna go that way, but can you imagine how juicy that shit would be? There's a part in the middle of the book that I highlighted because I feel like it just made her more endearing as a main character. It's a part where she's being questioned by the police, who is being a total asshole to her, but I mean, what else is new? At least the police representation is accurate in this book. The detective is trying to intimidate her and saying that she needs to tell the truth and that this is a very serious situation. If you know something, now's your chance to be on the side of good. You do understand that Mr. Black was a very important man, a VIP. And then the main character says, no. And then detective says, excuse me? And then she says, I don't believe that some people are more important than other people. We're all very important in our own way, detective. For instance, I'm sitting here with you, a lowly hotel maid, and yet clearly there's something very important about me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have brought me here today. And I was like, bitch, you fucking say it. Tell them your damn worth. The detective continues to try to intimidate her. Let me ask you something. Does it ever make you angry being a maid? I mean, cleaning up after rich people, taking care of their messes? And because the main character takes everything literally, she answers truthfully and she says, yes, I do sometimes feel angry, especially when guests are careless, when they forget that their actions have an impact on others, when I'm treated like I don't matter. Now let me ask you a question. Does it ever bother you? Does what ever bother me? Cleaning up after rich people, taking care of their messes. Bitch, you went there. This bitch said ACAB and I support that. One of my favorite kinds of roasts is when people roast others, but it's like not intentional. Now I'm in the middle of the book where she's trying to figure out how to get out of this situation. The main difficulty that she's been going through though is being used by other characters because again, she takes things very literally, which I think makes it easier for certain characters with ill motivations to trick her. You're more aware of what's going on in the story than the main character is. And I wonder if that takes away the actual mystery aspect of the story. And I'm hoping that later on she will play a bigger part in trying to solve this mystery because so far this girl is just getting tricked and it is not that fun to see her being taken advantage of. I'm hoping that she's able to use her unusual demeanor or her skills or her brain or whatever to be able to solve the mystery in her own way. I want her to have a little bit more agency in this. Currently staying in the center of Taipei City at the Orange Hotel, and they've really gone all out with the theme, starting off with their cute little mascot. I finished reading Maid and it was all right. There was kind of a twist, but I just felt very meh about it. It wasn't that scandalous. I wanted some more drama, but I guess that's the point of cozy thrillers. It's supposed to be kind of more low stakes, I guess, even though people are dying. It was a very feel-good kind of book where it wasn't just the character trying to solve this mystery, but it was also her finding her own people that accept her for who she is. I feel like what was integral for the mystery being solved was just other people helping her out, and I'm glad that there's other people who are on her team because she definitely needs allies, but I wanted her to have some more agency. So that's why I am going with 3 stars. Overall, I read 3 books this month. Obviously didn't have that much time to read because I've been traveling around. Hopefully next month will be better. I'll see you then, and then I'll show you more of Taiwan too. Go ahead and unsubscribe from my channel, and goodbye.